Okay, so this video is on equation of a parabola and how to derive the equation of a parabola given the focus, directrix, vertex, and a value. And then we're going to go backwards and see if we can find the focus, the directrix, and the a value given the equation. Alright, so the first few things I want to talk about is there are 4 versions of this formula. The ones on the left here are pretty much the same. The only thing that's different is that the 4a is negative for the downward parabola. And these are basically the same. The only thing that is different is the 4a. It is negative when the parabola opens up to the left. Now, a few things about these formulas. When it's up or when it's down, the value that is squared is the x side. So if you look at this, the side of the equation that is squared is the side that has the x. And if it's left or right, the equation has the squared around the y. Okay. Now, one picture I do want to draw is where the a value is and how, to decipher what a is. So I'm just going to make a focus. This is my focus, and a directrix. Okay. So remember, your directrix is a line and your focus is a point. Your vertex lives halfway in between, perfectly halfway. So whatever distance that is between the focus and the directrix, my vertex lives halfway in between. We always hug the focus. We never cross the directrix ever. Don't ever touch the directrix. Don't go through it. Don't go near it. It is just there as a barrier so that you do not cross it. So for example, you would not be able to move that parabola past the directrix. So what I wanted to say was the a value is this distance here. It is the same distance as this distance as well. So whatever the distance is from F to V, that is the same distance as the distance of V to D. So this distance is equal. Okay, in this problem it says write the equation of the parabola with the vertex of 3, 1 and the focus of 3, 5. And on the side it says state the vertex, the focus, the directrix, and the a value. Now, these are all things that'll help us get the equation of the parabola. So I'm just going to write these on the side to help myself out. The vertex they did tell me was 3, 1, and they also told me that my focus was 3, 5. So I'm going to make a sketch for myself over here of what I have already. I know my vertex is at 1, 2, 3, 1. So I'm going to label that V. And my focus is at 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over here. That's my focus. This tells me that my parabola is opening upward because we hug our focus. Okay. What else I can pull from this picture is I can now pull the a value. That is that distance there. And when I count, I have 1, 2, 3, 4. This distance here is 1, 2, 3, 4. So my a value is 4, which tells me how to find my directrix. My directrix is a line directly beneath the vertex, and that is going to be 4 away from the vertex because that was my a value. So I need to find 4 for my vertex. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4. So if I count my spaces, I have 1, 2, 3. I need one more space to get 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. My directrix is right here. And that is at y equals 1, 2, 3, negative 3. Which makes sense because my vertex was at 3, 1. And to get 4 away, you need to go down below 4. So I'll have, this will be my 1, then 2, 3, and 4. And that tells me where my directrix is. It's a y equals because it's a horizontal line. Now that I have all these pieces of information, I can now write the equation of my parabola. Because it is a upward opening parabola, I will be using the equation x minus h squared equals positive 4a because it's opening upward, y minus k. The h and the k come from the vertex, h and k. In this case, h is 3, so minus 3. My a value is 4, and my y minus k is going to be y minus 1. And now when you have an equation that opens upward or downward, you will solve for the y value. Basically, you're always going to solve for the thing that is not squared. So this is equal to 16, and then y minus 1. I'm going to solve for y by dividing by 16. and I'll end up adding 1. My final answer is the equation of y equals x minus 3 squared over 16 plus 1. My next example says write an equation of the parabola with the focus of. So in this case, they gave me the focus and the directrix. So my focus is 2, 4. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to make that my focus. And my directrix is x equals negative 4. X equals is a vertical line. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4 and make a vertical line through x. And that's my directrix. So on the side it says state the vertex, the focus, directrix, and we need our a value to make our equation. We know our focus is 2, 4 because they gave that to us. We also know the directrix is x equals negative 4 because they also gave that to us. Now I'm going to find my a value. Well, I could find my vertex first, then I'll find my a value. My vertex is happily in between your directrix and your focus. So between this point and that line. If I count, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that means that my vertex is 3 away from each of these. That also is my a value. My a value is 3 because this total distance is 6. To find the halfway value that gets me my vertex, you divide it by 2 to get 3 as your a. So I can count 3 from the directrix or the focus. It does not matter. It will both get me to my vertex. So I'm going to go from my focus 1, 2, 3 right there. So I'm going to put a point at this value here and make my vertex. So my vertex right now is negative 1, comma 4. Okay, this is going to open up to the right because we hug our focus. Now that I have all these pieces of information, I can solve for my equation. The equation I will be using is y minus k squared equals 4a x minus h. The reason why I'm using this specific equation is because I have a right opening parabola. When you're opening right or left, you will use the equation that has the y that is squared. I also chose the positive 4a because I am opening up towards the right. So now I'm going to plug in my h and my k. So my k is positive 4, so it'll become a negative 4. My a is 3. And because my h is already negative, I'm putting in a negative negative, which makes it a positive. That's why the signs change, because you have a negative negative. I'm now going to have y minus 4 all squared equals 12, and then x plus 1. When you have a parabola that opens up right or left, you will solve for the x value. So in this case, I'm going to divide by 12, and I'll get y minus 4 all squared over 12 equals x plus 1. And to solve for x now, I will subtract the 1, and I'll end up getting y minus 4 all squared over 12 minus 1 equals x. Okay, so the next question says write the equation of a parabola with the focus at negative 2, negative 4, and the directrix at y equals 4. So negative 2, negative 4 is down here. That is my focus. Okay, my directrix is at y equals 4. So that is a horizontal line going through 4. When you have y equals, you are a horizontal line. This is my directrix. So right now I know I want my vertex, I need my focus, my directrix, and my a value. My vertex I still need to find, we don't know that. My focus they gave us was negative 2, negative 4. My directrix they gave us as x equals 4. Y equals 4, I'm sorry. So I need to find my a value and my vertex. As explained in the last example, your vertex is happily in between halfway of the focus and the directrix. Let's see how many spaces we are between the directrix and the focus. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 spaces. So that means that there is a distance of 4 halfway. So that is your a value. Okay, so 4. Because this whole distance is 8, you would divide that by 2 and get 4 as your a value. So it does not matter which way you count. You can count from the directrix or the focus. You will still get to the point that you need to get to. I'm going to count from the directrix. So if I count 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm right here. So my vertex is right there. And also, just a side note, your vertex is always the same alignment as your focus. I'm going to hug my focus, so I have a downward opening parabola. The coordinates of my vertex are -2, 0. And now that I have all this information, I can now create the equation of my parabola. So because I have a downward opening parabola, I'll be using the equation x minus h all squared equals -4a y minus k. It is negative because you are opening downward. So remember, if you are opening down or to the left, you will make that 4a negative. So I'm going to plug in what I know. I know that my h value is a -2 because h comma k is your vertex. And my a value is 4, and my y minus 0 because the k value is 0. So now I'm just going to clean this up by solving for y. You're solving for y here because it's a downward opening parabola, and again, you always solve for the thing that does not have the squared. So if you look at what I've done so far, I changed these signs to be positive because it was a negative negative. I multiplied this to get -16, and y minus 0 is y. Now to just solve, I'm going to divide by -16, and you'll end up getting y equals x plus 2 all squared over -16. Okay, so for this question it says find the vertex focus directrix from the equation y plus 5 squared equals -4 x minus 1. Now with this one, this is slightly different because they do not give you any pieces of information besides the equation. But the equation is very, very useful. It does give us a lot of pieces of information. Looking at this equation, I know that I'm using the y minus k squared equals -4a x minus h. The reason why I'm using this one is because the y is squared and I have a -4, meaning I need my -4a. So what I can pull right out from the equation is the vertex. The vertex is in the form h comma k. And looking at this, my k is in the 5 place and my h is in the -1. When you put it inside the parentheses, you will change the sign of the h and the k, because if you notice inside the formula, it's negative. So this is +5. To get a +5, there had to be a -5 in there because this is negative already. So it's -5, and that's actually the y value. So let me fix that. That's actually our y value. The reason why that is our y value is because it is the k value, and it's also next to y inside the equation. What's next to x is a -1, and again, this is negative, so it will be a +1 inside of your vertex. So my vertex is this. Alrighty. So I'm going to make myself a quick picture here. I know my vertex is at 1, -5. So 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's my vertex. Now, looking at my equation, I can tell that my parabola is opening up towards the left. Now, there's a few reasons why. It's a y that's squared, and it's negative. So if y is squared, that means left or right, and because this is negative, we're going left. The only thing I need to do now is find my focus and my directrix, and how I find that is by getting that a value. So I'm going to have to do some work on the side here to get my a value. I know that -4a and -4 are in the same place. I'll set them equal to each other and solve for a by dividing by -4. So a equals 1. That means that I can find my focus and my directrix. Okay, by counting 1 from each. So I know my focus is 1 inside the parabola's arms, and then my directrix is 1 away from the vertex. So my focus is the coordinate point 0, -5, and my directrix is the coordinate, well, the line, I'm sorry, the directrix is always a line. It's x equals 2. The directrix is always an equation of a line. So in this question, these are our answers.